Hello, everybody. Welcome to our seminar series by the Center of Innovative Teaching and Learning. Our topic for today is Business Success, International Experience in Developing Universities of Applied Sciences. First of all, shall we welcome Professor Chen.
Okay, so thank you so much for the kind introduction. I'm Sally, the president of Tung College. Distinguished guests, participants from around the globe, colleagues and students, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our participants from different parts of the world. Welcome to the seminar series. I especially would like to extend my warmest welcome to our esteemed speakers from Australia, Bahrain, Finland, Switzerland, and Thailand. Let me begin by providing a brief history of the development of University of Applied Sciences in Hong Kong, as well as Tung College. In October 2023, the Hong Kong Chief Executive announced in the policy address that the government would actively support the establishment of UAS with a vision to elevate vocational and professional education and training to the university degree level. And in November last year, the Alliance of Universities of Applied Sciences was launched with 4 founding members, including Hong Kong Metropolitan University, St. Francis University, the Technological and Higher Education Institute of Hong Kong, as well as Tung College. Tung College has been dedicated to applied education since its establishment in 2010 by the Tung Group of Hospitals. We have built a strong foundation by providing practical education for students. Most of our programs focus on health and social care. In 2020, the government rolled out the pilot project on the development of applied degree programs. In this first round of pilot project, our bachelor's degree in applied gerontology was among the 4 applied degree programs introduced in the academic year 2022 to 2023. Subsequently, our bachelor's degree in health information and services management was selected for the second round of the pilot project, and we have launched the program in this academic year. While Tung College has a strong niche in applied education, we are equally proud of our strength in applied research. We are committed to translating research into real-world application that benefit individuals and society. This vision guides the establishment of our Translational Research Center for Digital Mental Health in January last year and the Smart Health Applied Research Center this year. Tung College is now on the road to becoming a private university and a University of Applied Sciences. Institutions worldwide have pioneered diverse models of applied education that offer valuable wisdom of how we might better align academia with industry, research with impact, and learning with employability. Here in Hong Kong, we must draw inspiration from these global successes and craft a path that suits Hong Kong's unique ecosystem, one that speaks to our economic structure, cultural diversity, and global connectivity. This seminar series, organized by Tung College, aims to foster informative and productive discussions regarding the current global landscape, challenges, and future potentials in applied education. Over 3 days, our distinguished speakers will provide their experience and insight on UAS. For professionals at the forefront of applied education in Hong Kong, this platform offers an excellent opportunity to examine how we can contribute to the development of UAS within the local context. With support from the Government Education Bureau and peers, applied education will continue to advance, and UAS will gain public recognition. Helping the local community recognize that University of Applied Sciences quality matches traditional university is crucial, and let's work together to offer a respected alternative path to success for our students and young people. The seminar series would not be possible without the support from various parties. First, I'd like to thank the Education Bureau for their unfailing support to Tung College. I would like to thank the Alliance of Universities of Applied Sciences in Hong Kong for being the supporting organization of this seminar series. I'm incredibly grateful to our distinguished speakers for the time and for the generous sharing. I would also like to thank Professor Wilma, the Director of Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning at Tung College, and his team for organizing this important event. Lastly, I wish you all a fruitful and enjoyable seminar. Thank you.
Now, shall we welcome Professor Ma, the moderator for today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are so glad and honored to have invited a number of distinguished speakers to join us to speak and share their experience to our audience about the University of Applied Sciences. So we have Professor Kevin Ashford-Rowe, Vice-Chancellor, Learning and Teaching, Queensland University of Technology, QUT, Australia. And we have Professor Hatem Masri, President, Applied Science University, Bahrain. We have Dr. Heidi Rontu, Docent, Vice President Education, Metropolia University of Applied Sciences, Helsinki, Finland. And we have Professor Dr. Reto Steiner, Dean at School of Management and Law, member of the Executive Board and Head of Academic Affairs, Zurich, University of Applied Sciences, Switzerland. Today, we have 1 hour, 30 minutes for this seminar. Actually, we have 3 days seminar series for today, tomorrow, and the day after. And for today, we have 4 speakers. Thank you so much for joining us. And we plan to have about 15 minutes for each of the speakers to share their experience about their university and their experience in University of Applied Sciences to share with us for about 15 minutes. And then after that, we'll go to the floor for question and answer period. For the first speaker, we have Professor Kevin Ashford-Rowe from QUT.
Thank you very much, Will, and thank you, President Chan, for that very kind introduction. I'm going to move through this quickly. I'm here talking about the what we framed the digital university for the real world. I'm from the Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane, which is about halfway down the eastern seaboard of Australia. We're a university of about 50,000 students. We're very much an applied university. We're currently ranked 9th out of about 40 public universities in Australia. And we're also a top 100 university globally. So why a digital university? Well, the reason that I'm taking this tack and the reason that I'm talking to you from this perspective is that, in essence, if you want to be contemporary in your pedagogical practice and your teaching practice, then you need to make sure that you have the underlying infrastructure and the technologies and the digital ecosystem in place that enables you to provide contemporary learning and teaching experiences. Now, this is important from a broader geopolitical perspective, in that I'm an economic historian from original training, and I understand that what happened in the 17th and 18th, 19th and 19th and 20th century in Northern Europe, and has played out in other parts of the world along different timeframes, is that essentially we've moved from agrarian to industrial societies, and we're now in the process of moving from being industrial to info age information age digital societies. And we have to understand this because we have ostensibly got a digital age teaching cohort or digital age student cohort, and that also includes mature age students who are more often than not working in businesses that are very highly skilled and highly proficient in the use of technologies. And all too often, we have a teaching paradigm that is nested in, if not the agricultural age, then probably the industrial age. So in a very simple perspective, what we have to do is make sure that we don't continue to provide our notion of what a learning experience should look like, which is predominantly an industrial age experience, which is somebody sits or stands in front of you and talks at you and you write down and you remember. That's an anathema to students who have been enculturated to learn in a digital age. Now, I'm aware as I say that I am talking to an audience that comes from a much more of a Asian Confucian tradition. And so it's not quite as simple as that, but ostensibly, in broad terms, the metaphor plays out. It's also worth remembering that insofar as we moved from an industrial to an information age, we didn't go to bed on a Friday night somewhere in the 19th century and wake up on the Monday in the agrarian age and wake up on the Monday morning in the industrial age. These transitions take decades, sometimes centuries. So the previous slide is important because what we need to understand is that we are on the cusp of the industrial to digital age transformation. And that means that we have to understand the changes in notions like functional literacy. What does it mean to be literate? What is it? How do we communicate and what are the means of communication? And also, what are the ways in which we achieve production of our assets and resources? So why now? Well, we need to invest in the infrastructure that is going to enable us to deliver, irrespective of whether we're on, off campus, or in that place in between, or delivering to students in the workplace. Our students expect a higher education learning experience that's consistent with other aspects of their transactional and communication lives. They expect to be able to access their learning and teaching increasingly at the times and places of their choosing. They expect that what we provide to them is seamless and consistent. That means as they navigate within our digital ecosystem, they don't expect clunky experiences. They don't expect to be kicked out. They expect to be able to move from the transactional to the relational to the learning in a seamless way. And they, as our staff, expect that we operate systems that work first time and every time. And that if systems are down, they're not down without our knowledge. They expect, of course, that experience continues to be facilitated by world-class educators, but they want contemporary higher education technology platforms to mediate that experience. And they want the expectation that their university and their teachers are engaging with them, because engagement is a proxy for success, that they are able to engage with their students across that range of platforms. And they want the tools and the services that will enable them at the point that they need those services to succeed. And increasingly, we are in an age of unbundled, reaggregated, multi-credentialed, micro-credentialed learning and teaching, and at the same time as delivering our traditional approaches, we're having to think about what are the ways that we disaggregate that learning. So from a very simple perspective at QUT, we took the Alf Litzio student lifecycle model, and we looked at particularly the model from the perspective of commencing students transitioning into the university and continuing students transitioning through the university. And we understood that those students exist within a digital ecosystem that exists beyond the university, that they transact within a digital ecosystem that manages the administration and procedural work, the pastoral aspects of their learning journey, but that for me, most importantly, they engage in a digital learning ecosystem that manages the learning and teaching aspects, the facilitation of their learning within that journey. And if you go back to my previous comments, that's the component that needs to be seamless, integrated, and work first time every time, and not just from the student's perspective, but also from the academic's perspective. Because if you're looking to shift a conversation from hygiene to business as usual and then on to innovation, you need to make sure that you deliver to your academics, to your teachers, the technologies that will enable them to do that. If you get it right, it means that you can increasingly offer to your students in the digital age a tailored, personalized, self-paced, and critically, authentically taught and assessed experience. And now that, to me, is something that occurs in the classroom and in the workplace and in the physical and virtual environments that exist in between them. Just briefly, I'm conscious of time. At QUT, we have spent an enormous amount of time and effort interrogating our community, understanding the literature to understand what does a contemporary learning and teaching ecosystem look like, and what is it that we have to facilitate within that ecosystem. And that's included a range of tools, moving our digital. Probably the backbone of it has been moving our learning management system out into the cloud to use a contemporary industry standard tool in the form of Canvas. So how will we know when we're there? Well, the digital university for the real world is one that will have fully embraced digital and learning teaching paradigms, will be delivering a digitally enhanced and high quality learning and teaching experience, but also will have the framework, the policies, the products, the services, etc., in place to drive that excellence agenda. And for me, the university that I walked into in QUT 7 years ago, I characterized as digital in part, which meant that we were using technologies, but what we were doing was skewing those technologies to fit the paradigms of our system and process delivery. So we had manual mechanisms and means of transacting and establishing relationships in place, and we skew technologies to fit those. Generative AI is a perfect example of why we need to be truly digital at heart, which means that we have to be prepared to understand and accept the affordances that the technologies offer us and be open to changing the ways in which we deliver, which we facilitate the learning teaching experience consistent with what those technologies offer. Because if we don't, others will, and our students and our staff, for that matter, are already working in those ecosystems. For anybody who's interested, this work, we wrote a chapter aligning the vision for technology, enhanced learning with the master plan policies and procedures, and that's published in Sankey, Husser and Fitzgerald's Technology Enhanced Learning and the Virtual University. Happy to provide more information on that where it's useful. And I believe, Will, I'm probably just about up to my 10 minutes, so I will leave the question, but I'm happy to talk with colleagues afterwards about what hopefully may have resonated with them in what I said.
Thank you very much, Professor Ashford-Rowe. Thank you very much for sharing the background of QUT so that we can understand a little more. And we will learn more in the Q&A section. Just a reminder to the audience that today we focus on a number of subtopics, historical development and milestones of the university that will be shared with us, the comparative analysis of traditional UAS universities, curriculum and pedagogical innovations, government and policy supports. Sure, we will also answer to audience questions in a broader sense. So we just learned about the pedagogical innovation from Professor Ashford-Rowe, and then we'll go to the next speaker. So next speaker will be Professor Hatem Masri from Applied Science University, Bahrain.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I will try to share my screen if you don't allow me. Right. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Also, I would like to thank Advantage Christian, who introduced me to all of you. It was great pleasure to see this, let's say, these activity and interest given by, let's say, futuristic country like Hong Kong for applied sciences, something that we're in depth into our culture, as I represent today the Arab world and the GCC. Applied Science University, I will explain Applied Science University, and I will try to stick into the model and say what is, how applied science in Bahrain is embodying this model of applied sciences universities. Let me start with the historical development. All of us, we know that applied sciences, maybe as a title, it's in the 19th century was started, but applied education as a word, it's deeply rooted in the history of Arab world, long before the modern term University of Applied Sciences. The three oldest continuously operating universities, we call them Jamia, is Zitouna University from Tunisia, Al-Qarawiyyin, and Al-Azhar, since 737 till 970. These hubs of science and technology were hosting this applied science spirit. It's not just theoretical. I know that they teach religious studies, but they taught subjects such as medicine, astronomy, mathematics, agriculture, commerce, and languages, and all are tailored to their needs on their societies. I think that I will come up to at the end of my presentation on their way of doing things and why it's in line with what we do nowadays in applied sciences. Even using technology and moving to online, fully online and hybrid. Let me talk about my university that I'm here since 2 years. I'm the president of this university. The university started 21 years ago as a private university with the title of Applied Science University. It was recognized in 2006 by the Higher Education Council, and we started launching our postgraduate program in 2012. 2014, we inaugurated our $1 million investment campus in Al Akr, in the heart of the industrial area of Bahrain, of the Kingdom of Bahrain. We got the strategic partnership with the London South Bank, which is the best for 2024, the best apprenticeship university in UK, with the spirit to give more applied sciences, applied experience to our students. And we got our first batch from these programs with the LSBU, graduated in 2019. In the present, we are more oriented into applied research, R&D, community engagement, and fulfilling the vision of Bahrain 2030. For sure, we are also aiming to introduce applied research not only on the technical side, on easy fields like we call computer science, engineering, but also in social sciences fields like law, political science, where humans are playing a great role rather than machines. In our way, to answer the question, what is the traditional versus applied science, and what is the difference between us as university and traditional universities? It's that we offer students applied skills and real world applicant relevance. And while in traditional university, it's more research methods, it's more theory rich. Academic also, they are linked to the industry, and that's why Applied Science University is in the heart of the industrial area in Bahrain, and near the largest factory of aluminium, Alba, in the world, near also the largest petroleum companies, near the largest industry for vehicle automation, etc., and for mechanical industry. But we are trying to build link with these industry more than what traditional universities do. In fact, the unique value of Applied Science University, it's our high employability focus, and we focus on our students and our graduate. It's not just only the academic knowledge, but also the skills required today in dynamic market jobs. You know that today, for example, dealing with machine is very important. It's part of the Industrial Revolution 4. But in the next Industrial Revolution or Society 5.0, all right, we need to collaborate with them. And what differentiates us as a human from a machine, it's our what we call human skills. Then we are trying to give these human skills into our curriculum. And I'm proudly saying that with Advanced HE, we created what we call the assurance of skills for the Society 5.0, and we are implementing this in our programs. We are practice-based learning. Well, I will tell you how we are dealing with this practice-based learning, and this model comes from history. It's the way that old university they were operating. I can explain it now, maybe. Before, in the oldest university, they give 1/3 to students to watch the content, engage with the content. It was books. They were given books. Nowadays, we give them videos. All our courses are recorded, and they are engaged, and we are engaging students through questions and multiple choice questions like we do in platforms like Coursera, edX, etc. Plus, we are giving them the opportunity to ask questions, and ask questions not only in a small room, it's in a big room, it's in a face-to-face, to engage them more, to open their appetite. And then we are giving them the opportunity to go and practice in small groups, in small classrooms, and they do this with people from practitioners from the field. Then that's why we have students, they have more entrepreneurial training, they have more strong industry engagement, because they meet these people, they have these people in their classrooms. They are not just working with the teacher, a wise man that is sitting on the stage. No, they are working with practitioners. They know people from the industry, and this also people, they are coming from different countries, which gives my students what we call a global competitiveness. It means that we invite people from different countries, like you do today by inviting people from Bahrain or from Europe or from Australia. But this will give our students a global competitiveness. What is the pedagogical innovation as we did? Global competitiveness is the opportunity to be recognized. And I'm a strong believer that if we are not going to collaborate together, for example, like the dual award that I'm doing with LSBU, London South Bank, this award is recognized in Europe, it's recognized in GCC, in the Arab countries. I'm one of the top 25 universities in the Arab country and top 539 in the world. Then this gives me the opportunity to collaborate with this. We have now dual award with London South Bank, a university from UK. Soon we are going to start something also with 3 universities, one from United States, one from Europe, and one from Asia, which is us, Applied Science University. And we are trying in this collaboration to align our modules or what we are going to provide with professional standards. Because the unique thing that it's common to all over the world are the professional standards, all right? When you have, for example, a master in HR, all right, people, they will ask about CIPD. Then if your program is not aligned with CIPD, then you are losing an opportunity to provide your students, for example, with this certificate when they finish their master degree with CIPD. Then we are strong believer that this should be there. Also, we are strong believer that this pedagogical innovation in the curriculum should come with what we call extracurricular activities like summer schools and workshop. We push our students to attend summer schools and workshop, and we organize summer schools and workshop in order that other students from outside, they visit us. We want to create this culture of globalization inside the campus and offer students the way to get out from their screens and their local community to a big community that will open extra chances for them to succeed. Plus, we don't deny the importance of interactive learning platforms. And as we said, we are just doing like big mock companies, Coursera, edX, they are doing. All right, we are offering students the opportunity to get this as an extra to what they are getting in the classroom or inside the campus. I want to finish in time. I want to finish in 10 minutes, like my colleague, if it's possible, because I'm a talkative person. Sorry for that. The students also need to experience the workplace, and this is very important for us. And that's why we don't have a co-op like Canada or US, all right, where students, they spend an extra year into this, but we are somewhat guiding students to make their internship mandatory. Then they have a first-year internship, a second-year internship, and the third year that is counted on their GPA internship. Then we are offering students blue-collar internship, white-collar internship, and an official internship. And this is really good for students like not just in engineering and computer science. I'm talking about students in political science. They see people from the political sphere, and they can discuss with them, they can exchange information. They will be inspired by these people. And we are trying to enter the students on real world project and case studies. It means that during their internship, they should write a case study. And this case study, usually we publish it. And today, I'm attending your seminar, but I'm missing an important event. We do events with other universities like University of Ajman, where students, they present these case studies as part of their research. Then undergraduate students, they do research since they enter, and they present this with other people coming from another university in a kind of a conference setup. For sure, we do a lot of corporate visit and guest lectures, and we are tech-driven teaching, BIM, CAD, simulation, we do all these things. For sure, without the support, as mentioned by Professor Will, and I agree with that, without the support of the government, and without the policy support, we cannot go into this applied University of Sciences. We cannot, because because a lot of what we call, we need a kind of framework. Thanks to God, this framework exists in Bahrain, and it's well developed. We have now a national QA framework that allow us to do that. We have a recognition of applied qualification coming soon. This is good to offer microcredit, to reskill, to upskill students, and to offer them a lifelong learning experience. And ASU is keen also to give our students what we call an academic advising and mentoring through alumni. We don't give just academic advising through faculty. We give this also through alumni. Why? Because alumni are in the industry. They know sometimes better than us what is going on. What kind of professional certificate is needed for that type of students for his career? Then usually we select some of our alumni. I have around 8,000 alumni, and we assign to them second-year students to inspire them and to guide them in order to succeed in the university and to get the best from our experience inside the university. For sure, I will not talk about funding and regulations, but it's there, and we have a lot of performance-based incentives, because look, at the end, who will be providing this applied science experience to students. Those who are there in the classroom, those who are there in the platform, and those coming from the industry, all right? And without giving them incentives, it will not work. They need to believe on that. They need to engage with you on that. Then that's why we have pushed it toward the performance-based incentives in higher education in order that, and now I think that the ministry is listening to us and is adopting this at the general scale. I would like to conclude by saying that University of Applied Science are reshaping the global education. And it's the priority is employability. The priority is employability, innovation, and partnership. Whether partnership with the industry, partnership with the professional society, partnership with other universities, partnership with alumni, partnership with even with the strong believers of the value of applied science model. ASU tries to stand as a regional leader in delivering this model, and we are committed to preparing graduates for global impact and lifelong. This is all about my presentation, and I hope that I did not exceed my 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, President Masri. So thank you for sharing your experience in ASU as an University of Applied Sciences and the strategic direction in all this. So we will go to Dr. Heidi Rontu, Vice President of Metropolia, University of Applied Sciences. Please.
Thank you for the invitation, and also thank you for the presentation. And also for the previous presenters, it's been very interesting to listen to you, and also at the same time in my head sort of benchmarking what we are doing here in Finland. Okay, let's see if I can share my slides, if you can see them now, hopefully. Let's see. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, and I will just put in the presentation mode so it will be easier for you to see. Let's go move upward a little bit. Sorry. Oh, this is going the other way. Sorry. Okay. Also sending you greetings from Helsinki, Finland. Here on the first page, you can see one of our campuses from Metropolia University of Applied Sciences. And as we are coming from Finland, I must say that we always comment the weather. I don't know why, but we do. So we are enjoying now very sunny days. So we're looking forward to the summer approaching gradually, and we will be able to enjoy long sunny days. As you probably know, in Finland, wintertime, we have very short days. So we have a lot of dark times. So I think summer is very special for us. So we're going now towards summer. That's very nice. So I'm working as Vice President of Education at Metropolia University of Applied Sciences. I've been here for 4 years, and previously I've been working in Finland in science universities, you could call them. So I'm also bringing to my presentation a little bit of that background. So we have a dual system in Finland. We have what we call science universities and then universities of applied sciences. Metropolia is the largest university of applied sciences. We've been having these universities of applied sciences in Finland for roughly over 30 years. It was a decision that was made then, a political decision, to have this dual system, as we call it. There was a need in the country for a more applied higher education, and this was the answer. It was then benchmarked, for instance, as I understand, from different European models that already then were existing elsewhere in Europe. It was based on those models very much, I understand. Metropolia, we have 4 education fields: business, culture, healthcare, and social services, and technology. And roughly here you see our size, what it means to be the biggest in Finland. We are actually the 3rd biggest university altogether. University of Helsinki is the biggest university, and then we have another big city, University of Tampere, and then we are the 3rd biggest university in the whole country. Here you see the numbers, how many students we have, and what is different from science universities, we are owned all University of Applied Sciences in Finland are owned by municipalities, cities, municipalities. So here you see on the map the municipalities in the Helsinki capital area owning us. And there you see the realized turnover, so you get a rough idea of our economy also. So here are the 4 education fields. Our main fields, or where we have most students and also most staff, are technology and healthcare and social services. And also I would particularly like to mention culture. We are also the biggest culture educator in higher education as to applied universities. Okay, and now I'm jumping into more sort of going into what makes the difference if we compare or if we think about how universities applied sciences and particularly us, Metropolia, what is specific for our way of educating professionals for working life. First of all, we apply very strongly the lifelong learning methodology and also thinking philosophy in everything that we do. That means that wherever we're planning, if it is degree education, if it is education for open university, if it is education that we provide for companies, for municipalities, continuous learning opportunities, we always try to work out modules so we can combine different modules, so we could then fairly easily create different new kinds of education solutions when needed. What this means, the philosophy behind this is what we call Metropolia Match. So we try to start with each student, trying to understand the student's needs. What could we tailor, if possible, for that learner? And it also means when we recruit our degree students coming from different backgrounds, and we've seen this now, the need for more and more tailored individual solutions is growing. So we are trying to match the students' needs with the offerings that we have and find the best solutions, not only when it comes to the content of studies, but also to the methodology of studying and learning. Besides this thinking, so as it says here, flexible individual learning solutions for different life situations, I would perhaps like to take you to see our innovation project. Let's see if this works. Hopefully you have another view now, I hope, or do you still see my slides?
Still the slide. So probably when you share, you need to...
okay, I understand.
Either
okay,
share the whole screen or
yes, let me try to do that. Yes, let me try to do that screen. Okay, let's see if I can do it now. Yes, now perhaps you can see?
Yes, right.
Okay, so this is what we call Metropolia Minno. It's a good example of what we offer for all our degree students. And also this is becoming more and more popular for lifelong learners of different ages. Actually, they want to participate in these Minno projects. And why I'm giving this an example is that we've been doing this now for over a decade, these Minno projects, and I will explain you shortly what it means. We just received roughly a year ago from World Economic Forum Skills First Lighthouse Prize for this. And here is some of the arguments why we received this. And this is something that we've been working on for a long time and developing this concept that we've created. The idea is that the previous presenters were also talking about ecosystems. So that is also obviously for us as a University of Applied Systems, applied science is very important. Different ecosystems are partners, collaborators that we have there. And this is particularly now developed with the thought of providing a touchdown for students working in a group with a project and always linked to working life. So as I said, it's mandatory. So we have 10 ECTS credits the students get for this, and they need to do this, all our bachelor students. And here are some of the details about how it goes. And we're also combining students from different fields. Now that I think is the key issue here, and this is what we received from our collaborators or the companies, for instance, interested in this. This is what we received most positive feedback, that we have students mixed, working in coming from different fields and trying to find solutions for problems. So basically how it works, to put it in a nutshell, is that we get problems that need to be solved, questions that need answers from companies, from businesses, from industry, and we match a group around this, and they start working on it, and it's a sort of a creative process. And I could perhaps show you the idea process example, how this multidisciplinary innovation process, that is what we are aiming at applying during this 10 credit process that students are doing this MINNO project. And we are trying to support the students. It's not always easy when we have students from different fields, but we also feel that this is very, very important, and this is the way of working also for students to learn working life abilities that they will need in future. And then here are some examples of what we've actually done, just for you to get an idea what it means with this project, for instance. Okay, let me try to jump now to my slides. Let me see if I can do this. Yes, here we are. So that was one example of how we try to activate from scratch. And as I said, it's part of the bachelor's degree. So this is also during the first, or at the very latest, the second year, the students are doing this. And they actually enjoy this very much. It's very hands-on doing, so we will get lots of also positive feedback from students. And of course, they also learn groups working skills. It's not always easy, as I said, to learn to work with people from different backgrounds, different fields, different ways of thinking, I guess you could say. And the other thing that I would perhaps like to share with you is how we combine our RDI functions with our education offerings. So we have now how we are organized our RDI, research development and innovation functions. We have what we call hubs, phenomenon-based innovation hubs. We have 3 of them. Here you can see them, starting with future-proof health and well-being. And students are participating in different research projects as project assistants or other functions that there are in projects as part of their degree studies. And also we are inviting here when we offer, for instance, other training entities, small entities, not degree programs as such. So they are then engaged in these research projects very much, actually, and we have different platforms where students are working in these projects. I perhaps could maybe show you next one. Here are examples of the what we call them collaboration platforms, which we have. These platforms are governed by these innovation hubs that I just showed you. Or together with our schools. We have 10 different schools where we have our degree programs and other education offerings are organized. Deans are leading our schools. And then we have research directors leading these hubs. Most of these platforms are actually situated in our organization in these innovation hubs, but also some of them are in the schools. And these are all platforms where students are also engaged in doing different things. And perhaps I could just hear, let me see if that works. Again, can you see now this, or
yes.
do I need to? Okay,
yes.
Very good. I'm learning here also. Okay, so this is one example that I would just want to share with you, a platform where we have all our social and well-being students are participating in this. We have what we called a well-being village on one of our campuses, and students do part of their studies. They do here. They meet patients coming from, in this case, very much from, particularly from city of Helsinki. So we, for instance, our dental hygiene students are offering services for citizens of Helsinki. Teachers are obviously monitoring, and then we also combine here we have companies coming in and trying out new equipment, for instance, healthcare equipment or other methods of taking care of patients, and we are offering a platform for these companies. We are part of actually what is called the Health Proof Helsinki, also clinical health proof platform, which is also functioning here on this campus. But for students particularly, it is this village through which they are engaged, and during their studies then also are participating in developing different methods how to take care of patients, and the patients are also engaged in this process. So we made this very patient customer-centered process where students are participating, perhaps companies are involved, and also our teachers are involved in these processes. So this is one of the platforms that I was mentioning. As I said, this is particularly for our health and social services students. Here you see some examples of we offer a lot of things here because we also educate into many different healthcare professionals. So we have different. The list is long. I'm not going to show the whole list. So that was that, and let me see if I can still find my slides somewhere. Here we are. Okay, so that was the platforms, and just as a final mentioning we are part of also a European University Alliance. We are actually coordinating this alliance. So this is now a new thing. We are in our second year, and this is bringing a lot of new things to our education. So we are broadening out to EU and to create bachelor's programs, master's programs, and doctorate programs with our partners in this alliance network. And here you see our alliance. This was my last slide. I hope I managed the time roughly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. So Heidi Rontu will also join us on the third day and will present to us more about industrial partnership and those on the third day. But today we just learn more from the Metropolia UAS. Thank you. So and then we go to Zurich UAS, Professor Reto Steiner. So it's time. Yes, we can see the screen. Thank you very much. Give to you.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure presenting our university and telling you a little bit about how this university has been founded, what needed to happen that the government said, yes, we want this university. Our university is being located in the metropolitan area of Zurich. We have 3 locations. The main location is Winterthur, which is the 6th largest city of Switzerland, about 15 minutes drive from Zurich. Then we have a location in Zurich and one in Wädenswil at the Lake of Zurich. We are the 5th largest university in Switzerland, which is very remarkable when we consider that our university has been founded 18 years ago only. So we have grown tremendously and we have become one of the top players in the Swiss university landscape. How have the universities of applied science been founded? We have to look back at the 1990s. In this time, politicians in the national parliament said, we need universities which have a stronger focus on the needs of the industry and which create more impact. We already had, and we have a very long tradition of these classical universities. We have many universities, but the politicians had the impression they focused not enough on the needs of the economy. And Switzerland, which is an economically very strong country, needs more graduates, more research, which helps to foster the growth of Swiss economy. So the politicians at the national parliament created a legal framework which allowed to found the universities of applied sciences. It has become a project of 2 tiers of government, the national tier and the state tier. In Switzerland, universities are usually part of the state tier of government. We have one exception only, which is ETH Zurich, which is the only national university. All of the universities are state-owned. The universities of applied science are a mix. They are state-owned, but supported by the national government. And so this legal national framework was only possible because the state said, yes, we want to found these universities of applied sciences. So at the end of the 1990s, we had 7 universities of applied sciences. It's a very young construction, but to be very honest, it has been a merger of former institutions with a strong focus on practice. We already had more than 100 institutions in Switzerland which really were focusing on the business world, but which were not part of the university systems. Thanks to the founding of the University of Applied Sciences, these former institutions merged into these 7 new universities. For example, ZHAW, my university, has also been a merger of former institutions. Among them, the School of Engineering, which had already been founded 1874, and which was the first school where Albert Einstein was working after his PhD. So we have a long history, but our legal university is only 18 years old. The national law told all these 7 universities of applied sciences they have to do 4 performance mandates. They have to do degree programs. At the beginning, bachelor degree programs only. About 5 years later, master programs follow. They have to do applied research and development, continuing education, and they shall also provide services to the economy. It's very interesting to see that even the first legal framework, which was created in the 1990s, and it has been renewed now about 10 years ago, said how the finances shall be organized for these universities of applied sciences. We have 4 sources in Switzerland. We have federal funds, state funds, third-party money, and student tuition fees. The student tuition fees are very low because every university in Switzerland is for free. Only continuing education programs cost quite much. For example, we pay about $50,000 or $55,000 for an MBA program. But the bachelor and master degree programs are for free. The federal funds are granted based upon performance, research performance, and student numbers. The state funds are independent of the performance. It depends on the canton, how they organize it. It's usually a payment of the basic infrastructure. And third-party money is usually granted upon a competitive research grant applications and projects together with the industry. ZHAW has been founded in 2007. You may wonder now why I told you that the founding happened in the 1990s. Since then, many things happened. For example, there was a University of Applied Science in Zurich founded in the 1990s, but in 2007, it was an other merger of this university with other institutions. So we finally had the ZHAW. It's the largest University of Applied Sciences in German-speaking Switzerland, consisting of 8 schools, 3 locations, and with 14,000 students, the 5th largest university of Switzerland. You see, Switzerland has, compared to the US or some other countries, quite small universities because we really want to have an emphasis on a very good student-professor ratio. Our revenues are about $720 million per year. Every university in Switzerland, whether it's a classical one or an applied one, needs a national accreditation. We have this accreditation as all the universities. Additionally, the schools can follow their own accreditations if they need them. I'm head of academics affairs. This is the vice president of the entire university. But additionally, I'm also the dean, for example, of the School of Management and Law. And our school, which is the largest business school in Switzerland, has a very strong focus on internationalization and on rankings. Therefore, we are Triple Crown accredited, such as, for example, Hong Kong U or National University of Singapore, which means we are AACSB, ECUS, and AMBA accredited, and we are always ranked in the top 100 of the FT ranking, which is extremely important for us. As you see, we are a University of Applied Sciences, but like QUT, we want to be among the very best in the world. We believe in Switzerland, and especially ZHAW, that in a competitive economy and in a global economy, still global economy, you must be among the best, even if you are applied. Especially when companies deal with AI, we need to be at the forefront of research and cannot just follow what other universities have been created. This is, I think, the biggest difference of our University of Applied Sciences system in Switzerland compared to other University of Applied Sciences in Europe. We are at really the most research intense UAS in Europe. You see here a bit the composition of revenues. I show it with the example of the school I'm the dean of. About 1/2 of the revenues come from degree programs, and we have a wide range of them. 1/4 is research. Then we also have a lot of executive education, which is really very much in demand. Many employees do, in the sense of lifelong learning, executive education programs during their entire career, and we are the largest provider of executive education in entire Switzerland. And we do a little bit of consulting, but just a very little bit, because we don't want to compete with the big four like PwC, KPMG, because we really say we are a public university, so we must focus on the needs of society and not compete with the private sector. This means degree programs, research, and executive education. Each of our schools at ZHW has a vision, and you see now the vision of the School of Management and Law, and it shows that we want to be entrepreneurial. We want to create an entrepreneurial spirit among all our students and also with the research we do. And we want to contribute to resolving societal challenges. This shows that applied means to find solutions for the demands of society and to create a student cohort which can really make a difference in this world by behaving entrepreneurial, whether they have an own company or they work within a company. And we want to have a global reach. What are the challenges of our university? I want to sum up with this. First, we are now already the 5th largest university in Switzerland, and it's challenging to maintain this position. We have quite many international incoming students from all over the world. By the way, we also have many from Hong Kong, mostly from the Polytechnic University of Hong Kong, but also from City University of Hong Kong, for example. They spend 1 semester with us. We also have a lot of outgoing students. Many of our programs require each student to spend at least 1 semester abroad. That's why we have 190 partner universities all over the world. Second, we are in the city of Zurich, which is the most competitive place of Switzerland. It's the economic heart of Switzerland. And so we have a lot of competitors also from abroad who open campuses at our place. Our strategic partner location is Singapore, which is a very similar position, the heart of economy of our continent, one of the hearts of economy. Many want to come there because they think they can make a lot of money with the university. And so we are in a very highly competitive environment. The third thing, which is a challenge, is we need top staff, but not only us, all need top staff. And this means we need people who are good in teaching. We really want to be good in teaching. We do a lot of blended teaching. We also have online programs. 1/3 of our students are full-time only. 2/3 are part-time students. So we really need to create a very modern, progressive learning environment. Second, we want to be top in research. We have a focus on EU Horizon programs, but also on Swiss National Science Foundation programs, but also on alliances with industries. And here we say we must be really top in research because the time from development or new findings into market has become very short. 60, 70, 80 years ago, the quantum physics has been developed, but the application took a long time until now. These days, AI research is created, and within a couple of weeks, months, it goes already to the market. And so we must be very close. We are skeptical when it comes to separate basic research and applied research. We are convinced it must be very close together. Another challenge we have is that we cannot yet grant the PhD. We are a young university system, and we still need collaborations with classical universities. This is a problem for us, and we want to change this. All University of Applied Sciences, but we have a bit a problem because that some politicians think that's not your business, and also some small businesses say if you do PhDs, then you are far away from business world. This cannot be. But we are convinced that we need it. For example, at the School of Management and Law, I have 40 PhD students, but I have to collaborate with classical universities, which makes things very slowly. And especially because we have professors who have a much bigger palmarès than at the classical universities. Our professors are top in research and teaching, but we also expect that they have business world experience, which is very rare. To be honest, Harvard Business School, for example, is also a University of Applied Science. They have some top scholars, but they have many scholars with a long experience in the business world. And this mix makes it the #1 business school in the world. And that's where we want to go to in the long run. So the question is, what makes the difference between a classical university and ours? We think these are only 3 things which are different. First, we believe that the bachelor degree shall allow you to enter the job market. You don't need a master degree, as it is the case at classical universities in Switzerland, but the bachelor degree is enough that you can enter the job market. If you're really good and you have done some years in the business world, then you can go back and do the master program. Second, we have 2 different baccalaureates in Switzerland. We have the classical one where you only go to school, but we also have professional baccalaureates where you work 2 days in a company and go to school 3 days. And we are the natural university for these baccalaureate graduates who do this professional baccalaureate. For example, 20% of our young generation goes to a classical high school, and 20% go to this professional high school. And 60% just do a regular job degree, an apprenticeship. The third difference we have is we have a very strong tie with the business world. To be honest, also ETH has this strong tie, but our DNA is really to be very closely linked to the business world. Where does the path go to in the next 20 years? We see a certain convergence between classical university and UAS. For me and for most of our university board, this is a natural development. But we know that some politicians and certain classical universities don't like that. Also, universities, classical ones, go closer to the business world because they see if they don't listen to the needs of the business world, they will have problems in the long run. And very last but not least, for a University of Applied Sciences, it's very important to be locally anchored. We want to be close to the heartbeat of our local businesses, but at the same time, we want to be a global university for global outreach. We want to be among the top 100 universities in the world. And this can sometimes cause tensions because local businesses don't think we need this global outreach. And then we have to tell them in Switzerland, more than 50% of all revenues done by the Swiss economy are done in the export. So it's a conditio sine qua non. It's a really must do to be globalized, to have a global outreach, because the Swiss economy is completely dependent upon international and global trade. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Steiner. So it is very good that we learn more about Zurich and the background, the context, and the UAS development. And your last comment is my first question, actually. And we now go to the Q&A section. So you can type your question in the chat box, and then you can also mention which speaker to answer, or all of them that can comment. And the speaker can keep it short so that we can share by more speakers. Maybe I can start with the first. You mentioned about traditional university and also the UAS, about the combination and the future. Actually, that's my question to QUT, Professor Ashford-Rowe. In QUT, QUT actually is structured as a traditional and comprehensive university, but act very likely like a UAS. Do you think that why they have this move, or what do you think that is a challenge or a benefit or an advantage in doing so, Professor Rowe?
Yeah, thank you, Will. I mean, actually, it's really interesting listening to Reto in particular, and you know, that really strong distinction, particularly out of Europe, and you know, coming from that kind of more Humboldtian tradition. I guess I struggle a bit profoundly with the notion that there is something called a traditional university, then there is an applied university, and I think it kind of goes to the bigger context of education and higher education. And so for me, I prefer to see, and we talked, as our colleague from Finland said, many of us have talked about ecosystems. I prefer to see a tertiary ecosystem within which students can, and in fact, we've increasingly stopped using the phrase students and started to use the phrase learners, within which learners can be mobile and move through a tertiary system. And most learners don't care whether we're, certainly in the Australian context, I think it's fair to say for the most part, students are more interested in the degree that they'll get, the quality of the degree that they'll get, and how well that degree will equip them for the workplace. And there's always going to be a Harvard, an Oxford, a Cambridge, University of Hong Kong that's going to be there for a smaller portion of the population, I guess. But for the most part, most students go to university because they want to achieve the skills that will equip them to succeed in the workplace. And I think it's probably a little bit symptomatic as we move into a digital age that we're still worrying about our internal definitions and what we call ourselves, as opposed to looking at it from the outside in and the perspective of students who really want to have an understanding about what is it we can offer them. I don't mean that to be quite as controversial as it sounds, but I think in Australia, probably the distinction isn't quite so pure.
Thank you for your comments. Professor Steiner?
Really interesting. I was really surprised to see that you have started a series on this topic coming from Hong Kong. The UAS concept is a typical German-speaking and Scandinavian concept. We don't have this traditionally in other parts of the world. And it's an area where the job market without an academic degree has always been very strong, and there has always been a very strong and positive attitude towards people who really work in companies and are skilled workers, but with no academic degrees. And from this starting point, this UAS system has been developed over the last 30, 40 years. It started, by the way, in Germany, then Austria, Netherlands, Finland, Switzerland. In the English-speaking countries, there is absolutely no tradition of UAS. It has always been the academic path, which has been the path. And you see this, that in the US, everyone has a high school degree. Everyone goes to a certain kind of college, something we don't know in Switzerland, for example. But I fully agree with Kevin. And by the way, it's also funny to see that our EQUIS accreditation we got 2 years ago, we needed 3 peers, and they sent a peer from QUT to us. The chancellor came to us because we have a very similar philosophy. And the philosophy is really, there's a lifelong learning approach, which is needed by all employees from 16 to 70 years old or whatever. And we need to be progressive in the way we teach things. We have to listen to the society, to the needs of society, not always do what exactly they need, because we also must be a little bit independent, but we really should help to progress society. And actually, this is our DNA, and whether we call it UAS or not doesn't matter. But the approach, I think this approach is different. And maybe depending on the country, we have more an excellence approach or not. In Germany, UAS have about 10% of the research revenues of a Swiss UAS, and then you definitely have a different research approach. But otherwise, the philosophy, this is what really matters, and not the name UAS or classical university.
Thank you. Professor Sarah Chen.
Yes, thank you so much for all the insightful discussion. As Professor Steiner has said that the term UAS, in fact, was origin from Germany and European countries, not from the English speaking. That's why in the past, as you may know, that in Hong Kong, we don't have this term. But just recently, the government sort of brought it up, and also is a policy direction that we have to be a UAS for us, like a private university. Yeah. And but having said that, Hong Kong all along has a very strong vocational and professional training and education. Yeah. And as far as Tung College is concerned, all our programs, in fact, are applied education, very practical education that prepares students for a certain profession. So that is why we believe the concept of UAS, as far as we know, in fact, really fit into the Tung College context. Yeah. So, and this time is the government who drive this UAS formation. So in other words, we have no choice, but we have to move along. That's why we are keen to learn from experience of many countries who have UAS, and see how we should craft our path of UAS in Hong Kong. Yeah, and of course, we cannot just copy the European model or model from any country. We have to develop our own model in Hong Kong, as I've said in my opening remark. So I look forward to the advice from all of you. Thank you.
So thank you. So we can see a number of questions or comments from the chat box. So Dr. Rontu, so the first one go to you. They want to know more about the MINO project. What about the student, how they participate, and the teaching staff? And I also have one question when I listened to your presentation that you mentioned about individual learning. Actually, for UAS, we more focus on career path, that we want the student to graduate so that they can immediately get to the work as a profession. So it seems that we have more restriction rather than flexibility for individual learning, that we want to mold the student to fit the career or the profession. So it seems that, to my understanding, is just the other way around. But yeah, Steve, for your comment. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question. I was desperately looking for the hand, to raise the hand. I'm not used to using Zoom so often, so I wanted to participate in the discussion also earlier, because as I said, I've been working also in science universities in Finland. Now, what I would like to start with, because it also links to the MINO project, is that I would say in the applied University of Applied Sciences, at least in Finland, and to my understanding, as I understand, in Germany, Portugal, Austria, we have them, and Netherlands in Europe. I could perhaps say that the difference, and to my experience at least, very much is the pedagogical ability and interest also that the academic personnel has. Much more, I would say, are also educated more pedagogically in University of Applied Sciences. And that then links to this Minno project, because it's a pedagogical project, but we are linking it to our stakeholders, our companies, businesses, the industry, and there you actually need all the possible pedagogical abilities that you make this thing work. So you actually have the communication with industry and the students. You're helping the students to do this, and you're not sort of intervening too much either as a teacher, as a mentor. You stay in the background. And there was a question about when it happens. It's in the bachelor's degree, and usually during the first or the second year. Very, very rarely during the third year, for instance. And then the second question was about about working life skills. And that's why I wanted to show you this village where we have our healthcare and social services students practicing. Part of their mandatory practice periods are in this village, where we can sort of monitor and bring them into developing also what I said, methods in working life. Now, this is when it comes to social services and healthcare. I don't know what it is in your countries, but it's very hierarchical, quite traditional in Finland. So it's quite difficult for students when they graduate they need to learn these skills, how to participate, try to come with ideas, how we can develop ways of working actually in working life. So we want to give them this boost, this sort of self-assurance that they are professionals, they can come with their ideas. And we sort of want to do this by offering this platform on our campuses so that they would have this ability and gradually then also change the ways of working in social services and healthcare. I hope I answered all the questions.
Yeah, thank you. I think I see two comments and questions from Professor Mann asking about Minno project, teaching pedagogy, and how the platform works, and all have been answered just now.
Okay, very good.
Very
Thank
good. And also, there seems, if I miss any of that, you can also take a look and see. Interesting. One comment. See that 20 or 30% funding from research institution and industry, the practical research projects. So see whether goes to practical research projects and sponsoring. So from the Zurich UAS, seems that the funding is very different from Hong Kong and other places. And in Hong Kong, we are all self-financed. And now we see that 20-30% funding come from the research institutes and the industry. So it seems that they also involve a lot in the joint projects, right? And Professor Steiner.
Yes, funding is really a big difference to traditional universities. Our professors must love to be competitively doing the research. They need good research proposals and then find agencies who finance them or companies who want to collaborate with them. And we make a lot of revenues by such competitive grants, which helps to be extremely market-oriented and to be really at the edge of research. And it's very attractive for the students and for our assistants as well, because they are really involved in top projects, which are really discussed quite widely in the public. Our university is the one with the highest amount of media articles in Switzerland. We had a couple of thousands last year, for example. And our graduates are the best paid graduates of Switzerland. They are better paid than at some of the other top classical universities, because we teach by using case studies. We expect that students do project internships in the companies.
Sorry, it seems stopped, right? One moment. So maybe the connection. So can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So maybe I ask another question first, and then we wait for Professor Steiner to reconnect. President Masri, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. There is a question asked. There is a question asked about collaboration with industry. You talk a lot about ASU that have a close collaboration with industry, and can you suggest any of the evaluate mechanism or matrix that you measure the success of it in ASU?
Yeah.
How we measure success of collaboration with industry?
Yes, we measure the collaboration with the industry with what we gain from them in terms of project, number of projects, successful project. We give them also surveys to evaluate our partnership, and we have a single coordinator for each project, which ensure that this project is active. But let me I raised my hand just because there is a difference between a research-based university, where university is asked to do research and theories, advance, bring new technology, think out of the box, etc., etc. That's right. That's the typical, the traditional university. Applied science universities, they try to turn this into something real on the ground. It's good to discover, I don't know, it's good to discover ways, algorithms to make traffic better than in one of the corner. Yani, let's say in Africa, there is one of my team is working on traffic management, and he's providing us with an algorithm. But to turn this algorithm into real solution that will solve a problem, that's the geniusity. And that's what we need, applied universities. I give you another example, a real example. One of our students, undergraduate students, third year, he did the project with ALBA. The result of the project, around $200 million were kind of waste, all right? It turned out to be benefit for the company. They were losing money just by sitting inside the factory and adding, giving commands, giving idea out of the box. And what is the geniusity of these students, whether undergraduate or postgraduate? We have postgraduate, and we are up to start PhD program in September. Is their ability, it's their ability to transform. I'm from a business field. I know that Mitzenberg and others and other gurus of business, when they did and they wrote their books, they were students. They were young. They come up with a new way of visualization and looking at things. I agree that experience is important. I agree that research is important, but turning research into something like ChatGPT, these all algorithms are existing since 19s when I was student. Now we are turning them into reality, and they are paying a lot of money, and they are creating gurus in the field.
Thank you. Professor Steiner, we just lost you. Can you just finish?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Zoom app crashed and said it has to reboot. I don't know, did you understand anything I said, or I don't know when it crashed?
Most of them we hear just at the end, yeah.
To sum up, the salaries of our graduates are higher than at other classic universities. Right. We have the best paid graduates, and the reason is they can be immediately used in the business world. I think that's the big strength.
So, okay, thank you. Professor Ashford-Rowe.
Yeah, look, I know, Will, that we're close on time here, but I've just been reflecting on this notion of applied universities and the difference in the English-speaking world. And I think the point that I would make is that here in Australia, to have the title of university, so we have a very healthy training and further education sector. We have TAFE colleges. To have the title of a university, you have to demonstrate to the accrediting agency that you undertake research in the fields in which you teach to a certain level. And the value proposition of a university education is that you are at a TAFE, at a College of Further Education, you can learn from the research because your teachers, pedagogues, will be using the research to inform the teaching that you're giving, they're providing you. But the distinction for us here in a university is that you are learning, you should be learning from the research of those who are employed at your university. So it's only at a university in the Australian and I suspect UK context that you can guarantee that your research is being directly informed. Sorry, your teaching is being directly informed by the research of the university. And I think that's actually the important distinction. So I think for me, it's less about the institution where you acquire your skills and more about the degree to which the research into teaching nexus is being formally bridged in the institution to which you're studying. That said, there are, of course, universities who have strong research, but don't use that research to inform the teaching. That, for me, is a problem because I think when students pay money for a higher education, as they do in Australia at a university, they do, and they quite rightly have an expectation that the research, that the teaching that they're receiving is directly informed by the world-leading research of the institution.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all of your valuable sharing. Due to the time that we'll stop here. Professor Sally Chan, President, will you please conclude our seminar today?
Yes, today we are indeed very honored to have experts in UAS to provide us with the way that you are doing things in your country and your perception about UAS and the essence of UAS. And as Will has mentioned at the beginning, today is the beginning of our seminar series. There's still a lot to learn and discuss. We have just started, and we don't feel there's enough time for discussion today. But luckily, we still have our expert speakers with us in the coming 2 days, and we will drill into a more detailed discussion in each aspect, the pedagogy, the research side, and also other aspects that relate to UAS. So as I mentioned before, in Hong Kong, we just start the UAS, and we have no idea what it is before we start doing this. But hopefully, as we go along, we learn from other countries, and we learn from your wisdom, and we learn from your experience, so we can develop a University of Applied Sciences system in Hong Kong that fit into our culture and that fit into our needs. And with this, I thank our 4 distinguished speakers for providing us with the background of UAS, and I look forward to meeting you all again in the coming discussion. And I also would like to thank all the participants of today, and I hope you find the seminar series useful, and I look forward to welcome you again in the coming 2 days. So thanks, Will, for moderating the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow at the same time.